Hey, fight friends. Coming at you after a disastrous video fail. So instead of having a brand new bowl, I'm got about half of it. But as much rambling as I do, that'll probably get us through. If not, I'll just repack it. I am smoking tonight some a blend from Brigadier Black and called Alamo. There's about 4 different ones of that Brigadier Black deal from Pipes and Cigars. There's Gettysburg, Waterloo, the Alamo, and one more. And I'm wanting to try them all. That's a pretty decent blend. Alfred, aka Henry Sims, got me hooked on this. And this is what he originally sent me, and it was packed. This was my number 3 in my top 10 2013. Alfred sent this to me to try, and he sent me a bunch of it, and then he and I did a trade, and he bad overdid it. I still got a big old bag that I've got wrapped, double wrapped, and dang near vacuum sealed, Alfred. I'm just fixing to get into it, but I'm gonna do the right thing, finish this up, and but I did get into it yesterday, and I didn't smoke none of it, but it's still just as moist. I'm telling you, it is. And the smell, that was just, oh. So I'm hurrying up. I'm not going to waste that last little half ounce there. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, you know. But the Throwback is my very first pipe that I ever bought. Bought this in I believe 88 or 89. This is about 25 years old. It's a Dr. Grayboe Omega, and I think they were trying to pattern a Peterson, trying to copy one. This old pipe's had a lot of smokes, a lot of memories in this thing, and it's been a good one. I'm telling you, it's had a bunch of smokes in it, and it was not taken care of. So this thing is rugged, and don't let nobody tell you a Dr. Grayboe is not a good pipe, because it is. Now, I'm basing this on a 25-year-old one, but I've got a couple that's not that old, and they are good. I mean, I put them through the ringer. They're my beater pipes, and I work out in the yard with them. I've dropped them on concrete. I rarely ream them out. I mean, I just smoke them, and yeah, they're good. I've got about 6 Grayboes, and every one of them are, with the exception of one, and I don't remember which Savoy, or the draw just is not real good on it. The bore on it, they didn't get right on it. But the bowl is a little small on this one. But I've told this story before, how I wound up with it. I had sold, I was burnt out, young man, and burnt out already from the gasoline business, service station into the convenience stores, and just had it. And my wife and I were kind of going through a difficult time. We hadn't been married but about 7 years, and you know, kind of had that 7-year, things just were, I had some issues, and anyway, to make a long story short, I said, look, I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to get out of that rat race and try to do something else and get more family oriented, because I worked a ton of hours, you know, 80, 100 hours a week sometime. So I had some friends that was in the funeral home business, and they had 6 locations. Now they've got 4, but 2 of them were old. One of them downtown, they just tore it down and merged all that business out into their new location on 165 North. Y'all excuse my hoarseness, I've got this cold. And another one in a little small town, it was in bad shape. They tore it, well, they actually sold it. I don't know what's in it now, but they merged that business into the next little town. So, but I did that, and Went and talked to them, and they said, sure, come on, you know, we'd like to have you. We'd love to have you on. And back then, you could do your apprenticeship or your intern in Bomber. You had to have a year's internship or a year's apprentice. You could do it before you went to school. That way, when you got out, or you could do it when you got out of school. But I needed to do it before, because when I got out, I needed to get on into making a living, because they don't pay these interns much, and these little attendants, they don't barely make minimum wage, you know. And I had 2 boys, and of course my wife had a job, and I knew we was going to take a huge hit in pay for about a year, actually about 2 years, because school was a year. Made the deal to go to Houston, found an apartment to rent. Her dad was living down there at the time where they were from. She was from, well, not she's from here, but she grew up there. And I already sent the paperwork into school and was just fixing to send them my year's tuition. And I mean, my first couple of semesters tuition, and they come to me and they said, well, we want you to stay, and when you get out of school, and here's what we're going to start you out at. And they said, we're going to start you out at $21,000, I think. This was in 88, 89, which would have been 90, you know, when I got out. And I said, y'all? They said, yeah. Because I'd already heard, unless you own your own, and that's what my goal was, but you didn't make very good money. And but I thought it was going to be a little better than that. And I said, y'all? And they said, yeah. And so I got home that night, and I told my wife, I said, I think I'm going to get me another store. And that's exactly what I did. Of course, I went at it at a slower pace that time. But I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed the people. They were great people to work for. Help a lot of people. They're good. They're honest. And I enjoyed having people. I hated the grief part of it. I hated seeing, you know, it's not natural for a parent to have to bear their child or young children that have lost their parents too. It's horrible to see. Any of it's hard to see and deal with. You know, you get to where you come home at night, and of course I don't drink anymore, but you get to where you come home and have to have you a couple of nightcaps, you know. But tough to see parents bury children. It's just not the natural course of nature, you know. But I am going to start with a fresh bowl. Anyhow, one of the owners smoked cigars, and it was called a bearing. And back then, Eckerd Drugs, or CVS now, sold it. You could get them in a 5-pack now, then. And they would be, today, what would be considered about a $6 cigar. But you can't buy them in the 5-pack. Well, you might can. The only thing I seen was the 20 deals, but through pipes and cigars. But good cigar. And he had kind of got me on those. Of course, with the exception of him, everybody smoked cigarettes then. And this old guy that he'd occasionally bring his pipe, of course he smoked cigarettes, and man, it smelled good. He said, look, go down there and see the guy at the store called The Tobacconist. He was our local brick and mortar up until about 10 years ago. He said, go down there and see me, he'll fix you up. He said, but spend your money on tobacco, buy you a cheap pipe. And I got down there, and the guy was very honest and helpful. That's exactly what he recommended. And this was one of the pipes he recommended. So that's what I did in the beginning, is I bought a cheap pipe. I think this thing was $15 then. You can buy this one now for about 27 or 8. But and that's the same advice I give to newcomers today. Start out with a cheaper pipe and spend your money in the beginning. There's so many different blends and types. Spend your money sampling them. But up until about 2 years ago, until I got into the pipe community, just when I really started collecting pipes. I've got 53 or 4 pipes now, but I had about 6. And I had one Savinelli second, couple of 3 Dr. Graybows and a couple of basket pipes. And I've only got 2 left of the original. I had a couple of burnouts, lost to Dr. Graybow, and I quit smoking pipe from about 1998 to about 2008, nearly 10 years. It basically was 10 years. And then picked it back up. This thing has smoked a lot of cherry blend. That old boy. Of course, I started out on his house cherry, just like most do start with a cherry, but he had one called Montego Bay Rum. That was awesome. M.A.'s makes one called Rum Rummy. It's similar, but it ain't. I haven't yet to find one. There's somebody making a Montego Bay Rum, but it's not. This was a house blend. He even made gourmet chewing tobacco. He had peach. He had strawberry, cherry. I don't know. He had tons of it. Of course, I never was a chewing tobacco person, but he even blended chewing tobacco. Nice guy, but he got to fooling with guns, collector guns, you know, buying and selling, and he made some big money off of it, some antiques and whatnot. And he just closed the tobacco deal and went off into the gun thing. But now we have a new place coming. I've already told y'all this, not to be repeating myself, but we've got one coming on Forsyth Avenue called Governor's Pipe and Premium Cigar and Pipe Shop. They got a big, on their Facebook's got a big picture of Huey Long with a cigar, and they had an update on Facebook. They're on the north side of Monroe, which is where they need to be, where the money part of town is. That'll support them and pay the prices for these cigars. But they're working on their walk-in humidor. They had pictures on Facebook. They got it tore out. Y'all look, I'm working on a new hobby within this hobby, the pipe hobby. But this time I'm doing my homework in it. You know, they say men are bad about not reading directions and jumping off into something, and that's me. I'm no exception. But this time I'm doing my homework, with the exception of the little deal I did last night. I'm studying it, going through it, and I'm not ready to start. I'm probably 2 weeks away from doing it, but I'm going to start trying to blend some tobaccos just for a hobby. And I'm not talking about taking them, you know, Cornell and Deal and or a Wall Street and blend it with a blackjack, you know, or a Captain Black or whatever. I'm going to buy the couple of Virginias and a couple of Burleys, straight blending tobacco, some Cavendish, a couple of different Cavendish, some Perique, what Latakia I can get, and just start blending them. But I'm doing my homework first. I'm starting gradual. I'm starting slow. Of course, I won't be selling it, but I will surely give some samples away of it. A couple of ounces here and there. It's just going to be a hobby. And, of course, you got to have a license. I'm not going to risk doing that. But and if it gets to be something that somebody likes and wants more, we'll do a trade or something, you know. But I am going to work on it. And I did one last night. I took M.A.'s straight Virginia, their straight Burley, and some Lane Limited dark, Captain Black dark, about 50% Virginia, 30% Burley, and about 20% dark Cavendish. And I'm letting it marry up pretty good. It looks good. It's beginning to smell better. I didn't do much because I didn't want to waste a lot. And like I say, I'm waiting on my, I'm going to get my blending. It'll be blending tobacco. But I did try a bowl a while ago. I was going to let it marry for a week or 10 days, but it's good. But I think it'll be better. All right, well, thank y'all for stopping in with me and having a smoke. We'll try to catch y'all tomorrow. I am going fishing. My batteries are charging, God willing. So we'll catch y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good one, and God bless.